Hi, I'm Kirsty, and today I'm going to show you a text that is divided into 3 levels of English. Your challenge is to see how far you can follow the story. Can you make it to the end? Can you understand a C1 level? If you can, then your English is excellent. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. Keep going and push yourself. Are you ready? Let's get started. A final farewell. Alice and Marcus stood outside a broken building. The walls were cracked and smoke filled the air. The ground was cold and their breath turned into white mist as they spoke. "This is where we will find her," Marcus said, holding a small notebook in his hand. Alice looked nervous. She was from the year 2024 and was still new to time travel. She couldn't believe they were in London during the Second World War. It all felt strange to her. "How do you know all of this?" Alice asked. "The girl, this place, how do you know what is supposed to happen?" Marcus looked at her for a moment and then said, "I found this notebook in the 1940s. It belonged to another time traveller. It shows me what needs to happen. Every name, every moment, even you, Alice." "Me?" Alice looked surprised. "Yes," Marcus said. "You are part of this mission." Before Alice could say anything else, they heard a sound. It was the cry of a girl. Marcus grabbed Alice's hand. "She's here," he said. They followed the sound through the building. They found a young girl, about 16 years old, sitting under a table. Her blonde hair was messy, and her blue eyes were full of tears. She held a small blanket close to her. Marcus spoke softly. "Rose, it's okay. We're here to help you." The girl looked scared. "Who are you?" she asked. Alice knelt beside her. "We'll keep you safe," she said gently. They helped Rose leave the building as it collapsed around them. The air outside was filled with smoke and loud sirens. Bombs were falling in the distance. When they reached safety, Marcus knelt down to speak to Rose. "Go to the shelter down the street," he said. "You will find your mother there. You'll be safe." The girl nodded and ran off. Alice stared after her, her heart racing. "She looked so familiar," she said quietly. Marcus turned to Alice and said, "She should. Rose is your grandmother." Alice gasped. "What? That can't be true." Marcus nodded. "If Rose doesn't survive, you will never exist." Okay, that's it for the warm-up level B1. Did you understand everything? To summarize, Alice and Marcus are time travelers. That's people who live between the present, the past, and the future. They are on a mission. A mission is a specific task or job or even a duty that a person is given to do. And their mission is to save a young girl who turned out to be Alice's grandmother in the past. There were a few difficult words in part 1 that you might not know, such as siren. A siren is a warning device that makes a loud sound. It's what you find on top of a police car or an ambulance or a fire engine, for example. Did you understand the word blanket? A blanket is a large piece of material that we cover ourselves up with to stay warm. There was also the verb to kneel, a verb with a silent K, which means to get down on your knees. And finally, the word shelter, which is a place that provides protection from outside. Let's see what happens next in part 2. Get ready, we are moving on to a B2 level. Alice's mind raced as she tried to understand what Marcus had said. Her grandmother, a scared young girl caught in the danger of the Blitz. It felt impossible. "You knew this, didn't you?" Alice asked, her voice shaking. Marcus nodded. "Yes, I needed your help, Alice. That's why I brought you here." Before Alice could ask more, Marcus opened his notebook again. His eyes were focused as he read the pages. "There's one more person we need to save tonight." "Another child?" Alice asked. Marcus nodded. "A boy. If we don't save him..." He stopped speaking and went quiet. His shoulders were heavy with sadness. They walked quickly through the damaged streets of London, stepping over broken bricks and shattered glass. Using Marcus's notebook, they found him, a 12-year-old boy. His dark hair was long and his face was dirty. He sat in a doorway, holding a small tin soldier. Marcus knelt beside him and spoke gently. "Hello, Harry." The boy looked up, his eyes wide with fear. "Who are you?" "We're here to help," Marcus said calmly. Alice sat beside the boy. She looked at his face and felt her chest tighten. His sharp features reminded her of someone. She turned to Marcus and whispered, "Who is he?" Marcus's face looked sad as he answered, "He's Tom's grandfather." Alice froze. Tom, her husband, the man she had spent her life with, the father of her children. "If we don't save him," Marcus said quietly, "your Tom will never exist." How was that? Did you understand everything? So in part 2, we find out that Alice has a husband in 2024 called Tom. And on their time travel mission back to World War II, Alice and Marcus save Tom's grandfather, who is a young boy. 2 expressions you might not know in part 2 are: Alice's mind raced. This means that her thoughts were moving quickly because she was shocked. And shattered glass, which simply means broken glass. Okay, are you ready for the end of the story? Time to concentrate, time to focus. It's a C1 level. Don't worry if you don't understand all of the words, just try to understand the meaning. Let's go. Quickly, before we move on, if you're enjoying this video and you would like to join my full YouTube English program for free, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button. It really helps me. Thank you. Alice's heart pounded as everything fell into place. Every piece of her life, her love for Tom, their future together, depended on these children surviving. But now, the cost of this mission became clear. She and Marcus led the boy to safety, weaving through the war-torn streets and guiding him towards a group of survivors heading to a shelter. When they stopped, Alice could no longer hide her emotions. "You knew, didn't you?" she said, her voice trembling as she turned to Marcus. "You knew we were saving people who would make my life with Tom possible." Marcus's face was unreadable. It's what had to be done. Without them, none of it, none of you would exist. Tears blurred Alice's vision. "But what about us?" she whispered. "Marcus, I still..." Her voice broke under the weight of her emotions. Marcus's own eyes glistened, though he forced a smile. "Alice, I've loved you from the moment I met you. That's why I'm doing this, because I love you enough to let you go, to give you the life you were meant to have." Her tears spilled over as his words cut through her. "You're giving up us for me," she choked out. "For you," Marcus said softly, "and for the world you'll help shape." The silence between them was filled with unspoken pain. Slowly, Marcus reached for her hand, squeezing it tightly. "This is goodbye, Alice," he said, "but I'll always be with you, in every moment, every memory." With a trembling breath, Alice leaned forward, her lips brushing his in a fleeting kiss. It was a goodbye she couldn't speak aloud. When she opened her eyes, Marcus was already turning away, disappearing into the night. Alice stood there, her heart breaking, next to the alley that would take her back to 2024. Back to the life she was destined to live. Whether you made it all the way to the end or stopped at part 1, you can give yourselves a pat on the back. Now let me quickly summarize the final part of the story just in case some details were unclear. In part 3, Alice understands that her mission is to save her ancestors and her husband Tom's ancestors so that they can exist in the present. We also learn that Alice and Marcus have feelings for each other, but by helping Alice have a future with Tom in 2024, they must give up their chance to be together. Before you finally rest your brains, let me explain 2 interesting expressions. Alice's heart pounded as everything fell into place. To fall into place is an idiomatic expression that means to fit together or to make sense. A fleeting kiss is a kiss that is very quick, brief, and short-lived. If you have enjoyed this story, there are 3 other parts to this adventure on my channel. The stories are called London Scars, Ghosted, and The Mission. I will leave links to all 3 videos in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below how far you managed to get in the story. Was it B1, B2, or C1? Thank you for joining me in this English workout. If you would like to do some more English with me today, then join me in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave. I'll see you soon. Bye.